Welcome, everybody. Gather round.
Hello, Belvedere. What's all this then?
I reviewed a recent game of yours on chess.com. Hope you don't mind.
Not at all, my friend. I've always got time for a game review.
Loading now, sir. You had the black pieces, and our opponent opened with e4.
Then what?
You played d6, the Peert's defense. They respond with bishop c4. You attack their pawn with knight f6. They defend with d3. You play g6. They respond with h3. You fianchetto your dark-squared bishop. Our opponent plays knight f3. You play e6. They respond with their other knight. You played c6. You'd be slightly better to castle here, sir, but you show patience and have maintained equality in the opening.
Oh, thank you, Belly.
Our opponent plays d4. You commit your d-pawn forward to d5. They take it. You take back. They back off with their bishop. You play knight c6. They respond with a3. You develop your light-squared bishop to d7. They play queen e2. You react with a6. Our opponent captures a pawn with bishop takes d5. You recapture with the knight. They return the favor.
Ah, yes, I remember this. I had noticed my pawn on e6 was pinned, but I had queen a5 check, forking the king and the knight. Thought I might win a piece with that. But they found the rather resourceful knight c3, evading and blocking. At this point, I believe I castled.
Yes, sir. We are now into the mid-game, and your continued patience and steady improving moves has continued to maintain equality in this position. Very well done, sir.
Well, thank you, Belly.
Our opponent here plays bishop e3. You played e5, and they push past with d5.
I remember this too. Saw an opportunity to attack their knight, but also to reveal a second attacker on c3. Should they recapture with the pawn, I'd take back with the queen and be up not just a pawn, but also a rook. They moved their knight to h2, and I took on c3. But again they found the wonderfully resourceful bishop d2. I had no choice but to take it, and they to take back, and I to trade queens. So I won a knight out of all of that.
And our opponent can no longer castle. Taking that opportunity has given you an excellent position in this game, sir. Very well done indeed.
Thank you, Billy.
Here you played knight e5. Our opponent attacks our pawn on e4 with rook a to e1. You defend with f5. They move their king to c1. You bring a rook to the c-file. They respond with rook d1.
Yes, I remember this too. I thought if I take advantage of their pinned pawn on c2 and played knight d3 check, see, even if they capture with their rook, I'd win that rook and maintain pressure on c2. But they chose to play king b1. So I forced the issue with knight takes f2, forking both their rooks. They responded with rook h to f1. I took the other rook. They recaptured. Rook for a knight's not bad, eh?
Another well-found attack, sir. Almost impressive. From here, you played rook f6. Our opponent reroutes their knight to f1. You played f4. their knight moves to d2. Here you played f3, which they took, and you recaptured, creating a passed pawn, which they attack with rook f1. You then attack their rook and win a pawn with bishop takes h3. They win back their pawn and offer a rook trade. You accept. They recapture with knight takes f3. You bring your bishop to the same diagonal as our opponent's king. They defend their pawn with knight e1. You bring your rook to attack their d-pawn. They move their knight to g2.
Yes, this too I recall. Again, an incredible resource from my opponent. If I take on d5, they can play knight e3, forking my bishop and rook. However, I decided I'd be up that pawn, could move my rook, my bishop is defended, and I'm okay with trading pieces. So I took the pawn. They indeed played knight e3, and I moved my rook to e5.
Exceptional, sir. You've reached the endgame in a very promising position. Our opponent attacks our rook with knight c4. You give a check with rook e1. They move their king to a2. You again line up your bishop with our opponent's king.
Yes, indeed, I remember here too. They defended their knight with b3. And again, I thought trading pieces would be fine, and also my opponent would have no connected pawns. So I took their knight, and they did indeed recapture with b takes c4. And from here, I planted my rook on e5 to close these roads. My opponent played king b3, and I planned to push my h-pawn and promote to a queen.
An excellent strategy, sir. Our opponent responds with king b4. You play h4. They play c5. You h3. They king a5. You h2. They king b6.
Yes, as calculated, I'd get h1 promotes to a queen, just in time to protect my backward pawn on b7.
Just wonderful to see you shine, sir. Truly delightful to behold.
Okay, enough now, Belly. I'm not used to you complimenting me. I'm just waiting for the cutting insult about my failing flesh or brain made of pudding. What's going on here?
I observed the behaviors of you and your human friends. Say insulting things, but show only respect. Are my attempts to replicate this behavior unsuccessful, sir?
No, Belly, dear boy, I believe you've understood our sense of humour very accurately. Do continue.
Thank you, sir. Our opponent played c4. You move your rook to e3. They move their pawn to a4. You bring your rook to c3. They push their pawn to c6. You take it. They play king takes a6. You play rook takes c4. They respond with king a5.
Yes, and I made sure their king had a legal move when I played queen b1. I observed that singular legal move would remove it from the defence of a4, and that capturing a4 with my rook would be checkmate.
A well-earned checkmate, sir. Your opponent played at an estimated elo of 1650, but you applied patience and pressure when necessary. It is worth recognizing and demonstrating the skills you've learned recently. You are permitted to learn from success as well as failure, and I estimated your accuracy in this game as 91%. Your highest ever. Well done, my pudding-brained pet ape.
Well, I am flabbergasted. Thank you, Belly. And thank you to my opponent, and all our brothers and sisters in the US of A, and of course all at chess.com for being jolly good sports. I think I'm going to have a slice of cake, make a cuppa, then play chess.